If you're anything like me, you'll occasionally get the impulse to do something very stupid that is very clearly a bad idea just to see what would happen, like jumping in a river or calling a multi-platform video game YouTube channel outsidexbox. Of course, in the real world, actions have consequences, so we don't usually act on these impulses. In the consequence-free world of video games, however, you're much freer to try those stupid ideas out to see what will happen. And a lot of the time, the answer is the same: you die. See for yourself in these extremely bad video game decisions that will kill you instantly. Enjoy, and beware spoilers ahead for the following games.
But you didn't die because you called your YouTube channel outsidexbox.
But in a way, it's kind of a living death. So that sort of counts, I think.
See. No, that's fine. That's fine, I agree.
So anyway, spoilers for these games, minor ones though. You're probably seeing Baldur's Gate on there. You might be thinking, I won't watch this because Baldur's Gate, it is a little story-based, but it's not that bad, honestly.
Well met. I am a magical projection of Gale of Waterdeep, and if you see this manifestation, that means I have prematurely perished.
Baldur's Gate 3 is full of fun and friendly companions. There's the guy who tries to bite you in your sleep.
Shit.
There's the Githyanki who's always yelling at you.
That large, fleshy nose of yours looks like a mistake.
This jester guy seems pretty chill.
Then, reaching into his bag, he produces an ice pick.
Alright, fine. Perhaps the most dangerous party member in Baldur's Gate 3, however, is Gale of Waterdeep, the suave wizard who is harbouring a dangerous secret, as you will discover if he dies during your quest.
It is of vital importance that my death be remedied at your earliest convenience.
It turns out Gale has an artifact of unimaginable magical power embedded in his chest, which is the reason he has to consume your magical items. If he dies, however, this substance becomes unstable, and after 2 days it detonates, taking Gale, you, your party, and half the Sword Coast with it. If you decide to do Gale's companion quest after meeting with his mentor Elminster, the artifact in Gale's chest will stabilise, meaning you no longer have to feed him magical items, but also meaning that you now have a new ability available to you in your toolbar, something called Netherese Orb Blast. Now it sure seems like a bad idea to activate something called Netherese Orb Blast, right? After all, we all know what happens if that thing goes off. Everyone dies. But why would they put the button right there if they didn't want us to press it? Maybe it's just a cool new attack and I'd be really hamstringing myself by not using it. Well, turns out that your first instinct was right, because if you click this ability, Gale pulls out a magic dagger, stabs himself in the chest with it, and then goes off with the force of an H-bomb, killing you and the rest of the squad instantly, in a result so blindingly obvious they didn't even bother animating that part because they didn't think anyone would do it. But now we know what happens. That will be some comfort to the families.
Four years before the original Resident Evil hit the PS1, Alone in the Dark was doing survival horror in a spooky mansion in a much blockier fashion. You played as private investigator Edward Carnby, who is sent to explore Deseto, an old Louisiana mansion that, it turns out, is more full of ghosts and spirits than the containment unit at the Ghostbusters firehouse. As you explore the house, you'll come across lots of things that want to kill you, but deadliest of all is this harmless looking book called Vermis Mysteriis, or Of the Mysteries of Worms. Now, anyone who's seen The Evil Dead will know that you don't just start reading out Latin from old grimoires, especially in a setting as Lovecraftian as this one. But also, there's a part of us that wants to know what's going to happen. Perhaps we'll summon a cool demon, or get powers of some kind.
Nomine invocatoris, si non sanctificatus es, cave.
No, what happens instead is you get picked up by an unseen force, sort of crunched around a bit, and then die. I guess worms really don't want you figuring out their mysteries. Better to leave well enough alone.
The Binding of Isaac is definitely the best game in which you play a sobbing child running naked through the dungeons underneath his house, fighting hideous monstrosities with his own tears that I've ever played. And I stand by that statement, regardless of what you say. Being a roguelike, each run of The Binding of Isaac is different depending on what the randomly generated rooms give you in terms of enemies, obstacles, and most importantly, items. One item you might want to keep an eye out for is the Bible, a literal Bible that, when used, gives Isaac the power of flight for a single room, allowing him to pass over obstacles, spikes, or holes. However, the Bible also has an additional use in that it can kill several bosses, including Mom, and Mom's heart, in a single hit, sparing you all the hassle of having to cry all over your Mom's leg to do the fight the normal way. It makes sense if you play the game. Kind of. With this in mind, you might start to wonder if the Bible is some kind of handy insta-boss killer and try it on some other bosses. Most of the time, it just won't work, but if you try it on Satan, the boss who is literally Satan, you'll find it has a whole other secret effect, one you may have already figured out if you pay attention to the titles of YouTube videos. That's right, it'll kill you instantly. Not sure why Satan is immune to the Bible, but considering all the mean things it says about him, it does seem like a bad decision to turn up to a fight with the devil, clutching a book about how much he sucks. Seems like the kind of thing that would get you killed instantly, in fact. So that all checks out.
I'm getting tired of playing games.
In 2014, psychological survival horror game The Evil Within, literally everything is trying to kill you. From the enemies, to the scenery. So you really don't need to make things harder for yourself by doing extremely stupid things that are likely to get you killed. And yet, it is extremely easy to do just that in the portion of the game when you find yourself in an old abandoned mannequin factory, which, already, bad idea, being in an old abandoned mannequin factory. Nothing good happens in those places. What makes this mannequin factory even worse than regular mannequin factories, however, is the fact that it is also experiencing a gas leak, making the entire area highly volatile. You're warned that the area is flammable, but after many hours honing your reflexes to panic shoot anything that gets near, you still might find yourself loosing off a shot or dropping a match to burn a corpse, at which point this happens. So I am dead, but I did destroy a whole haunted mannequin factory, so in the cosmic balance of things, I think I came out ahead.
9S. The commander's put me in charge of your maintenance, ma'am. That means I'll be performing regular checks on you from now on.
I see.
Oh, don't worry. We 9S models are the best around, you know. Though I suppose we're not exactly known for our modesty.
In 2017's Nier Automata, you play one of several androids dressed like they work in a maid cafe owned by Karl Lagerfeld. The whole being an android thing is handy in gameplay terms, because pretty much every aspect of your in-game heads-up display is linked to a series of chips installed into your android player character's robot brain. Take a look through the plug-in chip system menu and you'll see chips for showing enemy health bars, displaying the minimap, displaying how much health you have left, even showing you where you can save your game. Each of those things relates to a specific chip plugged into your android's motherboard, and you can plug in and remove chips to customize your setup however you want. There is one chip in there, however, called the OS chip, which we're told governs the android's central processor. The description goes on to say that removing it means death. But if that was the case, why would they let me remove it? It must be some kind of clever double bluff, you're maybe thinking, because you've not played much Nier Automata and you don't realise that this is a game that will also kill you for eating a fish. Anyway, pull out the OS chip and surprise, surprise, you die instantly. Who could have predicted that? Well, apart from everyone, because the game explicitly told you that would happen, but apart from them.
Tomb raiding adventurer Lara Croft is always running into ancient curses, but usually they can be dealt with by firing 2 pistols at them simultaneously while somersaulting sideways. When something can't be somersault shot, that's when we get into trouble, as we discovered in the original Tomb Raider and in Tomb Raider Anniversary in the level that takes place in Greece in the ancient palace of King Midas. This level requires you to gather up lead bars and, using the magical power of the statue of Midas, transmute that lead into gold. Having learned of the incredible power of the statue, by which anything that touches its hand turns into gold, it would be a pretty stupid decision to jump onto that hand, right? To touch it with your human body? And yet, what kind of an archaeologist, nay scientist, nay citizen of the world would we be if we didn't test the limits of this incredible artifact's power? Lara Croft's an archaeologist, right? I can never tell. Anyway, decide to go through with this ill-advised experiment and the obvious happens. Lara turns into solid gold. Not quickly either. It takes a while, and she knows what's going on the whole time. Still, this will be useful to an academic institution somewhere, I expect, because they can sell it and fund an entire new research department.
Sleep well, darling? Our daughter really likes you. She wants you to be her big brother. Oh, now don't get too excited. Don't jump up and down just yet. You want to be part of this family, you gotta eat like family.
Say what you like about Resident Evil 7's Baker family chopping off your extremities and attacking you with chainsaws and locking you in weaponized escape rooms.
Have a nice day.
And turning into insect monsters. But you can't fault them for their hospitality. In fact, your very first interaction with them is being welcomed into their home, sat down at the family dinner table, and offered a home-cooked meal that makes up in quantity what it lacks in visual appeal.
Eat it. It's good.
Dumb some bitch wasn't no good if it hit him.
Yes.
Now, you're probably thinking it would be a bad idea to eat the baker's food, but the good news is that in the main game you aren't even given the option to. Some get shoved in your mouth, but then dinner is interrupted and you're able to make your escape.
Oh shit, he's not eating it, Jack! He's not eating it!
Get the hell up, Marguerite!
Make that for him!
Get the hell out of here!
You're a son of a bitch! Oh, I can't believe it, you son of a bitch! He's not eating it! He's not eating it!
The bad news is that there's a lot more of Marguerite's cooking in the bedroom DLC, and this time you can eat it if you want to.
Wow. This looks delicious.
You really don't want to.
I'll be back in a little bit to check on you.
In this DLC, you play as hapless camera operator Clancy Jarvis, who is trapped in one of the baker's guest rooms, being brought suspect-looking soup by Marguerite. What you're supposed to do is solve a series of puzzles to escape the room and make your way further into the family home, but if you like, you can just kick back and help yourself to some stew. You're given one warning, by which we mean Clancy violently throws the food back up, but if you decide to go back for seconds, you get this review worthy of kitchen nightmares. Actually, I'm not sure even Gordon Ramsay hated any food so much he died from it. Might be time to switch to takeout, Marguerite.
Ugh.
So those were 7 bad, terrible decisions that will kill you instantly in video games. Why not make a good decision this afternoon and click on one of these 2 videos to continue your YouTube journey with us or with our sister channel, Outside Extra. Here's a video from us. And down here is one from those folks I just mentioned, Outside Extra. Either of them an extremely good decision that I guarantee won't kill you. Not legally binding. I'm not on the hook if your house collapses while you watch it. Just saying.